On today's World Insight, cooperation toward common goals among Global South nations up for a discussion with the panel and Shanghai Cooperation Organization Secretary-General Zhang Ming.
Hello and welcome to World Insight with me, Tian. 2024, Global South countries have made their presence count in international platforms such as APEC, BRICS, the G20, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The Global South as a community has made a mark in global governance, but their voice collectively needs to be heard louder and clearer. In the Global South Media Dialogue of the 12th Global Video Media Forum, I moderated a panel. Representatives sat down to explore opportunities for better cooperation to make the voices of the Global South clearer and louder.
China is winning economically competitive cooperation, so naturally countries of Global South drifting towards the entity who understand our issues, who sharing what we wanted to see, and prepared to cooperate. At the same time, I would say some countries, established countries, they are not really inviting developing countries to their own circle. So all world must be harmonious. That is our continuous message to everybody. And if China will continue to do this policy of invitation, grand invitation to join rank of harmonious joint development, then things will be making well. We are good in competition, we are good in cooperation. Global South must improve communication. This is great way ahead of us, and our current event is really a huge step towards our brighter future.
My own Googling research showed that 80% of the world population, if you can believe what you read on the internet, is from the Global South, and that they're responsible for 40% of GDP. And yet, it's so underrepresented, and it deserves more coverage, and it deserves more of a say. I've only been at the United Nations for about 18 months, but I've witnessed a real change, and it's very interesting geopolitically. It's no secret to anybody here that the Security Council is often stuck on major issues because of the differing views of the major global powers. And the frustration, the anger, and the passion of the Global South is really coming through. And I really think that media need to invest more in the Global South, because we need to marry up the political side at the geopolitical level with the reality on the ground. And there are some very, very interesting stories to tell there.
How will the voices of Global South be heard better in the rest of the world? And what are the potentials of the Global South as a community? We are joined in Beijing by Gao Yuning, the Deputy Dean of the School of Public Policy and Management with Tsinghua University. How collective is the voice of the Global South, so to speak?
I think now we are trying to find a new development path to achieve the development goal, at the same time to surpass the traditional way, to just destroy the environment and overuse of the non-renewable resource and others. So I think definitely sustainable development is actually a keyword on that. And I think beyond that is also there is some general principle beyond that. Just as when we have the global climate change in negotiation, I think the principle of common but differentiated responsibility is a kind of a general principle, actually, I think a very key issue for the development of all Global South economies.
Do you expect the Global South voice to be sustainable?
In the process of the trade activities, we definitely will have some dispute or other, argument among each other. However, I think to find each other's proper position and relative, advantage inside the whole system will help the global South to achieve, a better and a more prosper future during the next decades. So inside that, I think China's development experience is actually a very good evidence and supporting evidence for these kind of narratives. So I think more and more global South economies will benefit from that and will become more supportive.
Please entice us as to how unique and how yet commonly inspiring China's experience and circumstances can be for the other global South countries and economies.
I think from China to, launch the import-export and even recently the global supply chain export, all these I think is a kind of a practice that a big trade economy will be able to offer so-called global public goods. That's actually a more stable trade environment, more stable global value chain, and that is not only good for these economy itself, but also for all its partners who want to involve in these trade networks. So I think this is actually to offer more global public goods. One is more opening market. A more open market means this market first is a universal market. Second is this market is not only for its domestic firms. It's a market for all the global firms. If you can offer your best product, service, or other issues on this market, you will become, a very welcome firm in this market, and you can also enjoy your profit. So this is actually, I think, the overall market itself is already kind of a public good. Even more important, global public goods is a kind of a stable and a predictable global supply chain or global value chain. That means that can guarantee all sides of players can have a predictable environment, policy environment, economic environment, and all other issues, and everyone can enjoy these kind of global value chain, global supply chain. I think that's become even more important global public goods in the recent world.
The president-elect of the United States suggesting the new administration is going to exert a 100% tariff on any country who try to challenge the charm of the US dollar. Of course, that is only rhetorically at this moment, but there might be very conflicting opinions, if not actions, and conflicts potentially between the global South and the United States alone. How do you see, Professor, that potential?
Currently, we have to admit that U.S. dollar is a dominant currency in the global, trade and financial system. But on the other hand, we have also seen that several other important currencies, I think renminbi especially, has started its internationalization during the past decade, step by step. So the use or not use, the currencies other than dollar is not a black or white issue or not a 0 to 1 issue. It actually a process. During the whole process, we usually say that there is a ladder of a currency internationalization, maybe starting from the foreign exchange, and then trade settlement and clearing, and use it in foreign direct investment, in the loans, in the offshore using, in also the third party transaction, even used as a reserve currency. So actually, just to use the so-called tariff weapon to against that is quite difficult, because on one hand, you can very difficult for you to identify which status is the so-called, the de-dollarization, or in which stage you should waive your weapon of tariff. So I think this is actually a natural process for the global South economies.
Collectively, the soft power compared to whether it's GDP share or the population share, is still humble. So how do you see this gap? How would you explain this gap? Is there a way to change it?
You can see currently the global north, the so-called advanced economy today, when they build up their soft power, they have already used several centuries. So that's not only about their culture, about the standard they set up, about the global governance regime they set up. So that's a whole system. So I think that's maybe the last step for the global south can, catching up or even overpass the global north, because maybe we may see the global south, their share of GDP, their contribution of manufacturing, powerhouse, or all these can surpass the global south gradually, even, in the financial system. But I think maybe that's the last step that the global south can finally I think recovered is soft power, including culture, global governance regime, and all these, because that's actually maybe the last steps for this great transformation.
Having heard what you said, Professor, can I clarify, what do you think is the relationship between the global south and the global north? Of course, these concepts are just very fluid and they are man-made concepts, but do you see the relationship as combative, rivalry, or do you see it can be complementary to one another and supposed to be complementary?
I think gradually in the future, we may see that these two concepts will converge to a whole of global economy. I don't think we have to hold the difference of these two concepts forever. This is just a kind of a description of the circumstance of today's world, and because two sides have have different perspective, have different understanding about the way of the global rules and the global governance system. But in the future, I think we should expect a convergence of the whole system. And by that, we should maybe more use a globalized world and a global governance system in the future.
Thank you. Gao Yuning, appreciate it. You're watching World Insight. Still to come, the continued mission of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in the words of the Secretary-General Zhang Ming. Next. Welcome back. This is World Insight. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, is an influential regional group advocating development for all. It has been committed to strengthening trust, dialogue, and cooperation since its inception in the year 2001. I recently had a one-on-one conversation with SCO Secretary-General Zhang Ming on local currency use, Global South cooperation, and more on the sideline of the BRICS Summit in Kazan. This time here at the BRICS Summit, you participated in the BRICS Plus mechanism as the Secretary General of an influential regional organization on security and beyond. What is your take about the BRICS and also BRICS Plus?
我想，参加这次金砖会议呢，有时候我会。
Actually, sometimes I felt a little dazed when I participated in this BRICS meeting, because what the participants said was highly consistent with the SCO summit. Very close. It is not surprising, because we are all members of the Global South. We share common challenges and difficulties, also common pursuits, goals, and demands. The goal is the modernization of the Global South. In other words, the modernization of our SCO member states, as well as the BRICS members. In short, it is the modernization of developing countries and maintaining world peace, prosperity, and development. The content of this BRICS meeting was very rich. Why did today's meeting last for 7 hours? Because there were many speakers. All parties have high expectations for BRICS. We hope through BRICS and a number of regional organizations in other developing countries, we can work together to advance the international political and economic order towards greater justice, reason, and fairness. It is in the interest of humanity, of the planet, and also of developing countries to do so.
Declaration of the BRICS countries, among them many items, including local currency payment cooperation. What do you take? What's your take about that?
金砖嘛，和上合组织一样，都是全球南方的重要成员。
BRICS is also an important member of the Global South, like the SCO. It can be said that we have common goals, common interests, and common pursuits. BRICS is one step ahead of the SCO in that it has the new development bank. I expect BRICS to go faster in this area. 7 out of the 10 member countries of BRICS are members of the SCO. I think we can benefit from it.
We understand the payment in local currency has become a trend in the region, and SCO has been working on it. Tell us more about the latest development.
As you said, we attach great importance to the payment of local currency, both for SCO as a whole and for our member states as individual states. From the point of view of SCO, I hope you still remember the summit that took place in Samarkand 3 years ago. Our leaders have adopted a document called the SCO Roadmap for states' increasing share of national currency. And we have officially promoted this work during the past over 2 years. Representatives of central banks and ministries of finance from member countries have set up a special working group to study this work on a regular and irregular basis. It can be said that certain results have been achieved, and we are now in the stage of coordinating and communicating policies among member states. Adjustments of financial policy and monetary policy. To be frankly, the matter of local currency payment is not an easy thing to do. It involves policy, technology, finance, politics, and so on. From SCO, we can say that we are serious, down to earth, and steady, step by step, to move forward this work steadily. We don't have a specific timeline, but I think we'll try to minimize such a period of time.
I understand that China will be hosting the rotating presidency of SCO for the year 2024 to 2025, and you are serving as the Secretary-General for this very crucial year. So what are likely to be the new development in that regard?
China has taken over the presidency of the SCO and is also an important force in the field of financial cooperation. As far as I know, this work has been taken into account in the work plan of the Chinese presidency and is one of the key tasks this year. I think several working group meetings will be held during the year for policy and technical alignment and financial communication on this work. This is at the official level of the SCO. At the unofficial level, as you know, there is an interbank consortium in the SCO. That's our unofficial cooperative organization. As banks, they're also very concerned about this work and are steadily advancing communication, coordination, research, and making recommendations on this work. In addition, the SCO's financial think tank platform, which is the SCO's own think tank, is also providing dedicated support to the SCO. So at the country level, it can be said that progress is faster. It's simpler. There is uneven development among countries and among our member states. In some countries, local currency payment has reached a very high proportion, definitely more than half. For example, trade between China and some countries may be slightly lower. But on the whole, it is more tangible and faster than multilateral progress. I think this is an important foundation for the SCO to promote this work in the multilateral field. The two complement each other, and I think the future is promising.
During the BRICS Summit, did you interact with your colleagues, both from international and regional organizations, as well as from different countries that are members of yours?
交流的很多了，其中包括金砖的成员国以及。
There was a lot of communication, including with BRICS members and participating countries outside BRICS. The meeting also included some international organizations. For example, UN Secretary-General Guterres. He sat next to me the whole time. The Commonwealth of Independent States, Eurasian Economic Commission. We've been communicating. it can be said that we all have a lot in common. We all have high expectations for BRICS. There are also high expectations for the SCO. Even Secretary-General Guterres talked about his expectations for the SCO. He once told me that the UN and the SCO are the two largest regional organizations in the world today. So when I was communicating with him today, he said he was very happy to be sitting next to the SCO. The SCO has a lot to offer. He hopes that the SCO will play a more important role. I think his expectations for the SCO are high.
Similar questions were also posed to you, Mr. Secretary General, many times about Shanghai Cooperation Organization, especially looking at the track record of SCO that you have managed to make some of the military bases by foreign countries to move away from your member countries throughout SCO's track record. And many ask, what is the nature of SCO in that regard, regarding so-called the Global South and the West?
这个上海合作组织的基本特征其实是公开的。
The basic characteristics of the SCO are in fact openly stated in the name of our organization, cooperation, and our purpose is cooperation. It is true that a number of media outlets play up the idea that the SCO is anti-Western and then compare it with NATO. I think that if these people are not ignorant, they're doing it intentionally. Because if they want to comment on the SCO, they must study the SCO, or at least read the SCO's charter and understand the development and progress of cooperation over the past 2 decades. We have a set of basic principles, including non-alignment, non-confrontation, non-targeting any third party, non-interference in internal affairs, openness and cooperation, and so on. And our practice over the past 23 years has been to firmly adhere to these principles. There is military cooperation between us, but our military cooperation is limited to combating terrorism, rather than seeking a regional military alliance. You mentioned the disappearance of extraterritorial military bases in the region. In fact, what benefit does the presence of military bases bring to the local people? Of course, this is a matter between the member states and the base countries, and I won't comment further on it. However, the SCO insists on cooperation and non-alignment, which is in the interest of the people of the region.
You've been, over the past few years, SCO hosting ministerial meetings, hundreds of them. Not to mention many of the events that are at very different levels between different countries of your members. I mean, how is that possible?
的确，上合组织的合作领域在拓展。
The areas of SCO cooperation are expanding. We probably have more than 50 ministerial cooperative mechanisms now and hold meetings for these mechanisms at least once a year. Before the meetings, there are also expert workshops, so it doubles. Sometimes the expert workshops will be more than once. That's why international organizations have so many meetings. As the Secretariat, we provide support and secure the operation of international organizations. I would like to say thank you to member states for their support and thank my colleagues within the Secretariat. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization has the smallest secretariat among all kinds of international organizations on various scales globally. I only have 36 staff members. My colleagues from other international organizations are very surprised when I talk about this. I have the smallest secretariat in size, supporting one of the world's largest regional organizations. I think that's the pride of my team and me. It is also proof of strong support from our member states for the Secretariat. Of course, we also want to reform, to improve, and to strengthen the Secretariat in terms of human, material, and financial resources, so that we can do our job better.
从人力上、物力上、财力上加强，以便我们把工作做得更好。
Having said that, though, the SCO is well known for working on the security issues to start with and continuing that way. For example, in the area of food security, economic security, health security, and the list goes on. So how do you see security remain a focus, even though your member countries are putting so much effort also on trade and economic interactions?
的确，23年前上合组织成立的时候。
23 years ago, when the SCO was founded, the threat of terrorism is serious on a global scale, including the SCO region. I think we all have a common memory. So, when we discussed the establishment of the SCO, we put a lot of effort on the fight against three forces: terrorism, separatism, and extremism. We are proud that after more than 20 years, we successfully maintained peace, security, and stability in the region, and also successfully provided a good environment for our economic development. Meanwhile, our cooperation is an all-round collaboration from the beginning. It's not just about security. Well, after more than 20 years, it can be said that 5 pillars of cooperation have been established. That's in addition to security cooperation, political mutual trust, economic development, people-to-people exchanges, and international cooperation. These 5 pillars are balanced. They go hand in hand. It includes the security in the broad sense, as you talked about, from the view of security itself. In addition to the fight against terrorism, extremism, and separatism, we're spending a lot more energy now to combat drug smuggling, illegal smuggling of weapons, transnational organized crime, and maintaining data security. In these areas, we will have new developments in the near future. In the construction of structures, there will be new results. That is, to turn the Tashkent Regional Anti-Terrorist Center into a comprehensive security center for SCO. An independent anti-drug center will be set up. At the same time, it is necessary to set up the Center for Combating Transnational Organized Crime, Data Security Center, etc. I think it's becoming better and more comprehensive. In a broader point of view, we're also paying more attention to the security of the supply chain and production chain, food security and energy security. Tackling climate change is also a kind of security. These are the areas of security. I'm afraid, in recent years, there are new challenges for SCO and beyond for the whole humanity. We keep up with the times. For these challenges, we have to be positive, respond positively to preserve the regional security and well-being of the peoples of our member states. Our leaders serve the interest of our people. They have to keep their eyes open to observe how the world is changing. For new risks and new challenges, we need to be proactive, respond bravely. That's the best way to go.
You traveled around the world to so many different occasions, talking to state leaders and also the public, ordinary people. Many are really wondering whether our world is going to get worse, more chaotic, before it gets better, more for the benefits of the public.
最近3年来以及更长的时间，我和世界各国
In the last 3 years and more, I have met from leaders to ordinary people of various countries. When I arrive at a country, I really like to talk to ordinary people, especially to the countryside. I myself have worked in the countryside, so I like to talk to them. On the bright side, I traveled to more than 100 countries from the end of the Cold War to the present day. All countries have undergone significant changes. I think this is a consequence of globalization, the result of openness and dividends of the end of the Cold War. Everyone in this world benefits from this. In recent years, I'm getting in touch with more and more people who are worried about the changing world. They feel as if this dividend is passing, is fading, and the sense of confrontation and competition is even stronger. They are very worried. So, as for my personal feelings, it is in this time that we need SCO more.
That's all the time we have for today. If you'd like to know more, search World Insight. Check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on X and Facebook. I'm Tian Wei on behalf of the team. Thanks for being with us. Bye.